This YouTube story exposes Mr. Kerry Stevens with his ongoing bribery and corruption. Contrary to the Bribery Act 2010, this includes abuse, bribery, and corruption. Also breach the London Borough of Ealing Adult Social Care Complaint Policy and Procedure, infringe Article 16 of the GDPR and Section 165 under the Data Protection Act. Mr. Stevens and London Borough of Ealing use inappropriate, abuse, bribery, threatening behaviour, harassment, and corruption towards the service user. Breach is subject access data requests on Article 16 under the GDPR 2018 and Section 165 on the Data Protection Act 2018 on February the 2nd, 2021, February the 21st, 2022, May the 9th, 2022, August the 3rd, 2022, August the 8th, 2022, and June the 26th, 2023. London Borough of Ealing committed fraud, bribery, abuse, and corruption on the review of the service user circumstances in respect of its care needs and support eligibility. Under the Care Act 2014, breached the Data Protection Act and GDPR 2018. Kerry Stevens cover up the abuse by bribing the service user and his legal advisor on March the 31st, 2022 and March the 31st, 2023, contrary to the Bribery Act 2010. He virtually failed to update subject access data requests on Article 16 of the GDPR and Section 165 on the Data Protection Act 2018 since June the 28th, 2022. Kerry Stevens and London Borough of Ealing were involved in the attempt to shut down the housing disrepair case, were involved of committing bribery, corruption, fraud on the service user, Care Act and housing disrepair, breaches duty of care under the Care Act 2014, which is contrary to the Fraud Act 2006 and the Bribery Act 2010 in this respect. As a result, Mr. Stevens continued unacceptable level of using bribery, corruption, and discrimination, breached the Equality Act 2010, acted unregulated, failed to update subject access data requests since June the 28th, 2022, infringed Article 16 of the GDPR and Section 165 under the Data Protection Act. The content on most of Mr. Stevens in his email reply towards the service user made frivolous and vexatious remarks contrary to the Protection from Harassment Act 1997 and under the Bribery Act 2010. Mr. Kerry Stevens is therefore using illegal restriction, infringed the Data Protection Act 2018 and GDPR 2018, committed abuse, bribery, and corruption in its previous communication as follows. London Borough of Ealing committed corruption in relation to the service user social care needs contrary to the Bribery Act 2010. Shiranga Majifia, the adult social care lawyer within the council legal department, still bribing the service user lawyers under the Bribery Act 2010, failed to update subject access data requests since June the 28th, 2022, breached Article 16 of the GDPR and Section 165 of the Data Protection Act. London Borough of Ealing committed fraud, bribery, abuse, and corruption to the service user housing disrepair needs, were involved in the attempt to shut down the housing disrepair case and claim which Michelle Andikandi, the housing senior lawyer, attempt to bribe the service user solicitor with derisory offer of compensation as peppercorn with £150 and £1,250 as hush money payment to cover up the abuse, bribery and corruption under the Bribery Act. London Borough of Ealing must cease and detest directly from the abuses, bribery and corruption in paragraph 1 and paragraph 2. Head of Dickey is not allowed to contact the service user by email, also breach Article 16 of the GDPR and Section 165 of the Data Protection Act unless she ceases and desists from processing inaccurate information, is already being reported to the Audit and Investigation for Fraud and Corruption. For the avoidance of doubt, Kerry Stevens, as the single point of contact, infringed Article 16 of the GDPR and Section 165 under the Data Protection Act, committed bribery and corruption under the Bribery Act 2010. London Borough of Ealing must cease and desist processing inaccurate subject access data about the service user, contravene Article 16 of the GDPR and Section 165 of the Data Protection Act 2018. Kerry Stevens must cease and desist from sending repeated correspondence to the service user on the false state of knowledge as an infringement of the GDPR 2018 under Article 16 and the Data Protection Act 2018 under Section 165. Any correspondence received directly from Kerry Stevens as corruption in relation to the service user social care needs and housing disrepair claim on related grievance have been treated as continued abuse committed by Kerry Stevens as the single point of contact.